I don't wake up asking, I wake up decided. I don't need convincing, I've been alive. I don't chase mirrors, I pass them smiling. I know what I look like, I designed it. I don't soften edges to be received. I don't lower standards to be perceived. I didn't stumble into this, I chose it. Every version of me, I own it. I am glamorous,
Deal with it,
I said it slow.
I feel it,
I am glamorous,
deal with it.
I don't explain, I live it. I buy my own things, I move how I want. I don't need permission, I don't respond. I like me like this, let's be clear. I don't dress for approval, I dress for here. I do it for me, not your view. If you're uncomfortable, that's on you. I am glamorous, deal with it, say it again. Don't rush it, I am glamorous,
Deal with it,
say it again. Don't rush it,
deal with it.
look at me, trust it, say it quiet,
Say it sure,
I am glamorous,
that's the key.
say it louder, say it proud. I am glamorous, say it now. I didn't borrow confidence, I built it. I didn't fake this posture, I lived it. I don't sparkle accidentally, I aim. I don't follow trends, I remain. If you like me like this, good. If you don't, still fine. I don't need agreement, I need alignment. Slow down, look at me. You wanna touch my body, look at me. You can't touch this, you can't touch this. You want this, I know you can't touch this.
Hands off, eyes on.
I move like this on purpose, I glow like this on purpose. You wanna be like this, don't be jealous. I do it for me, not for you. I'm glamorous, you can touch it, I'm glamorous. Say it slow, say it slow. I'm glamorous, you can touch it. Men come in, you can touch it. You can't touch this. Women come in, you can't touch this. Women come in, you can't touch this. You want this, I know you do. You can't touch. Snap, clap, move. I do it for me, not for you. I'm glamorous. You can't touch it. Snap, clap, move. I do it for me, not for you. I'm glamorous. You can't touch it. I'm glamorous. You can't touch it. Breathe, watch, feel. Slow it down, slow it down. Slow it down. Now bring it back. Bring it back, bring it back. You want this? I know you can't touch this. Not quite move. I do it for me, not for you. I'm glamorous. You can't touch me. I'm glamorous. I'm glamorous. You can't touch it. I'm Say it slow, no, say it soft. I'm glamorous. You can't touch it.
Hey, everybody, this is William Rochelle, and this is UBU Live Weekdays. Welcome. I hope everyone is having a great day. You know what I love about Thursdays? Thursday has this energy like the week has already done its worst, and you're still standing, and now you get to do something good with what's left of it. Today, I get to sit down with someone who stopped me in my tracks the first time I met her. Hopefully, she'll be able to get in backstage. And I want to try to tell you why, because it's not easy to put into words. There are people that you meet in this life who make you feel seen before they even know your name, not because they're performing warmth, not because it is their brand, but because it's just who they are. It comes off them naturally, the way heat comes off pavement in July. You feel it before you can explain it. Christiana Johnson is that kind of person. She has a strength that does not announce itself, a grace that does not perform, a compassion so deep and so genuine that when she turns it in your direction, you feel it for a moment, like the most important person in the room. And that, my friend, is not a small thing. That is actually everything. She has inspired people across the world, not by having all the answers, but by being brave enough to ask real questions, by being willing to sit in the hard places with people instead of pointing at them from a safe distance. She's the kind of human being that makes you feel better just being around her. Let me see if I can get her on stage.
Hello.
There you go.
Can you
See,
hear me?
I can hear you very, very
Can
well.
you see me?
I can see you now. So,
Oh my goodness, my apologies.
no apologies. But I want to tell everyone out there because we're honest, right? So while I was doing my intro to Christina, she showed up at the very last moment, like just when I was like,
Whoop,
"Is she gonna be here?" I was so scared.
whoop.
Um, and it's crazy. I you do this a lot. So it's crazy when you I don't have multiple guests. Like I don't have panels. So it's crazy when you go and it's like at that final hour, that final
Yes.
minute, and you're like, all right, I have to press play, but there's nobody backstage. And it just gives you that little moment of anxiety, but you are here looking glamorous as ever. How are you feeling today?
Thank you. I'm feeling great. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe I am here, William. It's such a joy to be here, such a pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
The
And
invite
it's
is long overdue.
I don't know if you saw my post. My post said my secret my secret dream came true.
It's so funny because when I first met you,
Yes.
and this is our real first meeting, I made a comment and you said, "Oh my God, is William Rochelle in the audience?" And I was like, "How does she know who I am?"
I make it my business to know these things, William.
And you were just delightful, and your energy was just so warm. And I think right after that show, I'm like, we have to connect, and you have to come on. But that was like
Thank you.
months and months and months ago. And you know how life
Yes, that
gets
was
in the way
last year.
sometimes. Yeah, life gets in the way, and things happen, and then you're just
Yeah.
like, all right, well, let's do it. So
We're
um, we're
here. We're
here.
doing
We're
it.
here. So before we get into um, who you are today,
Yes.
first of all, where are you?
I am in the UK. I'm based in the Midlands in the UK. For anyone who doesn't know already, I'm in the UK. Yes, that's where I am.
Okay. And were you born like are you
No, I was born
okay?
and bred in Africa, so I'm here.
Okay. And what part of Africa were you born?
Nigeria.
So, and where's any from? Nigeria too?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm just making sure because he was on my show last week and the way he described it was so fantastic.
Yes.
he said he lived in a compound. And
Mm-hmm.
then when him and his sister got to his dad's house in the UK, he was like, okay, which house is ours?
Yes. No.
So what was your experience like as a child growing up in Nigeria?
Amazing. I think childhood amazing, but then as a child, growing up, you see a lot of things. So I would say I went through the riots. I was in the era when there was the riots, when you have quite a lot of civil unrest. You know, we had. It's funny because we had lockdown. We were speaking of lockdown from 2020 in lockdown. And I remember somebody saying to me, "Oh my goodness, my life is over. We're in lockdown." And I made a comment saying, "Lockdown? You haven't seen lockdown." Our lockdown back home was, curfews. We're not allowed to be on the streets at any point. The police were fully guarding the places. We had tear gas. If nobody, came out the streets, you were beaten and all these things. Like there's so many things that you, as a child, you experience and you think, okay, this is interesting. But that's your real life, it's an everyday life.
So Annie said his grandparents had a compound.
Yes.
So was he shielded from what was going on?
I don't. Well, you have to ask any that, and it also depends on where we live. So people think that when it's from Nigeria, Nigeria is a very big place.
Gotcha.
Right? It's a big place. Whether you're from the north, south, east, or west, you could have unrest at different parts of the country at any one point. Okay, so maybe the north is settled, the south might not be settled, depending on what's happening. So, I'd have to see when Eddie was born as well, because Eddie is older than me. So, yeah,
you're like way older, like 3 times your age, right? I see it.
So yes.
So how would you say that your childhood was? His family seemed like they were wealthy, like there were guards all around and major homes all around, and he had his own hospital and in there. I don't know what a compound is, so
Yes.
I'm gonna leave it there. But for you, was it similar or was it?
I came from. Do you know something? I would say I come from middle stroke upper class. My grandmother. So I was raised with my grandparents. My grandparents were business people. We had housemaids, and although we had housemaids, we were not allowed as children to even ask of anything of housemaids. We were still seriously, we were still raised. You can do your own laundry, you can do your own washing. God gave you 2 hands, so you must use those 2 hands. So they raised us in the way that we must be self-sufficient to be able to be good, good independent citizens when we get older, despite having that help at home. And so for us, it was I watched my grandparents, well, especially my grandmother, with business. She was always traveling. She was always going outsourcing different types of things for business.
Let's stop there for a second. I need to do 2 things. Jackie Hallberg is in the building. Do you know her?
No, I don't know her.
You should know her.
Oh,
Jackie,
yes.
I left you a message and call me after the show. Second thing, see, both you and Annie are debunking the things that we hear about Africa and specifically Nigeria, because that's where he kind of concentrated on. Yes. So you're saying your grandmother, when you were growing up, was a businesswoman.
Yes.
And you do recognize that in America, a lot of people think that the man does the thing and the woman is basically support,
right?
But you're saying no. I learned how to do
grew
business.
Up seeing women,
seeing women do it. Okay.
I grew up seeing women holding the fort down.
Okay.
So it really, I think there's this misconception or myth about Africa, and I'm not saying every family is the same. Every family did the same thing, but growing up, people will say my grandfather was the one who was really helping, who was really at home. Although he worked, he was at home. And the funny thing is, he would work, he would still give my mom his paycheck, my grandmother his paycheck.
Yeah.
Even though she was a businesswoman, had several businesses, and just it was fun. I remember just having so much fun, being taught a lot. I was a child who was a happy child. who loved to impart. It's crazy I'm doing what I do now. From a very young age, I really imparted knowledge in others. So what I mean by that is I was fortunate to be in private education, and having some of the locals around me, some of the children were not able to afford going to school. I used to come back and teach whatever I learned from school. So after school, I was still teaching, to the point one day my grandfather went out, he bought me a blackboard and chalk set, and then became my that became my I guess my insight into an educator, which is what I call myself now. Is that I'm an educator. But this was new and humble beginnings of where it all began, ultimately. But growing up, it was fun, but at the same time, there was civil unrest. I remember just doing so many things. People see things like fetching water and so on and so forth. Our grandparents taught us to do that because you really get to experience all of it. We're not sheltered, we're not spoiled, we're not given. People see silver spoon in your mouth. That wasn't what we were. We had to experience real life in Africa, ultimately.
Regardless of what your social status was,
Hmm.
your parents made sure that you knew what the real world was like, which I
Absolutely.
think is I think that's the way every child should be raised. And when parents give their children too much, they expect too much, and then when they're released into the wild, they're like,
Shock
"What do
factor.
I do?" Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
lost.
They forget that's their parents' money. Their parents
Hmm.
could afford a housekeeper. You can't.
No.
Um, and it makes you a better person as you get more mature, even
Mm.
for your partner,
Yes.
male or female,
Yes.
that I know how to do my own laundry, or that I can cook my own food, and I can
Absolutely.
support, you just as much as you can support me. All
Mm.
those things are transferable.
Yes.
Um,
Not just that. Here's a key thing for me that has really stepped me in life. Because when you're a child and you have all these experiences, you don't know where it leads. You do not understand or fully understand and grasp exactly where it's taking you to. With my grandparents, especially my grandmother's businesses, all of her children, and there were 8 of them, plus myself, 9, all of her children
wait, wait,
had
wait, wait.
responsibilities.
Wait. So wait. Did your parents have 9 children, or did your grandparents have 9 grandchildren?
Grandparents.
Your grandparents had 9 children.
Yeah, eight plus myself, 9.
Okay, all right. And
Although my parents have 6 children.
okay, why did you live with your grandparents? Can I ask that question?
Yeah, sure.
May
Because
I
my
ask that
par-
question?
my parents came to the UK and left me behind to come to the UK, and they
And
were quite young themselves.
what was the
So
reasoning for going to the UK? Because that's similar to any story. Anita's dad was living in the UK,
yes.
and he was raised by his grandparents.
Hmm.
Is that normal
So
in Nigeria? Because I know
it is. It's the
a lot of
norm.
single parents
Hmm.
um, have their kids being either kept by their grandparents all
Hmm.
day, or
Yes.
living with their grandparents while they're going to school.
Yes.
So
So that was the norm growing up for me. That was the norm. I didn't know that then, but as you grow up, you understand. You become aware of your surroundings, aware of what life is like and was like, and for them. So my parents came here because my grandparents wanted my mom, and my dad wanted to come here for education, um, and he had the opportunity to do so, and so they both came together, you know and I was still a baby, and the thought was, how are you going to manage if you're leaving to a new country with a baby? Let's look after her until you find your feet.
okay,
So which a lot of back then, I would say, Afro-Caribbean parents did that to be able
you
to
said
get over
African,
here.
and you say African
African and
and Caribbean.
Caribbean. Hmm.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I got that right.
Yes.
So Your maternal or paternal grandparents?
Hmm.
Which ones did you live with?
I lived with my maternal.
Okay, all right. So I always feel like there's a deeper connection with the maternal grandparents for most. Like I was closer to my mom's
Hmm.
parents than I was my dad's
Yes,
parents.
same here.
Um, and I don't know why that is.
Hmm.
It's almost like your grandmother is a part of your mom, and
Yes,
you just naturally feel safe.
you're connected. I think it
Yeah,
depends. It depends as well. It depends on how much time you spend with both. So
that's
you,
true.
if you spend time with more of your maternal, you're going to be closer. If you spend time with your paternal, you are going because of whoever you spend the most time with. For me, I
You're
spent
right.
more time with my maternal, and therefore it meant automatically I lived with my aunts and uncles as if they were brothers and sisters because that's all I knew, and called them brothers and sisters because that was all I knew.
You called your
So
aunt and uncles brothers and sisters because you guys were
we grew up together. So my mother's baby brother is about 4 or 5 years difference in so we were quite close. We felt like we actually played like cats and dogs too. So yes, we're quite close.
So here's an interesting question before we change everything. Was there a part of you that already knew something was coming? Like something great was going to come your way?
Always,
Always. Okay.
always, because
It,
that is the way that you are raised. You expect that. That's what I was raised.
that's
Not meaning
interesting.
you, but I was raised. You know, by the time I got to 10 years old, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, and I said those exact words. So it's you were raised with that. There are no limitations. There's no limits to what you can achieve. There
And
was almost an expectation to go out there and do something great or be great. And that's not, I'm not being arrogant about it. I'm being very clear as to where I'll give you an example. I remember there was once, I smile about it now because, it's in the past on reflection. When I was about 9, 10 years old, I lost my best friend at school and she died of sickle cell. That was the second death I'd experienced as a child. The first being my great grandmother passing away, and the second was my best friend at school. And I remember I didn't want to go into school, and I was just like, as you do as a child, you're sad, and what I would now term, I was just moping around, I guess wondering why this has happened. If I'm ever going to see this person again, I can never see this, but I can never hear the voice. And my granddad one day said to me, "Okay, I know that you've lost your best friend, and I understand that you're hurting right now, but there are others that need you who are still alive, right?" So he mentioned he not being unsympathetic, but he said you have got so much more to do to give out there. There are people who are still going to be relying on you, and let the dead bury the dead. The dead is gone, but you've got so much more within you, and you can go out there and do something great. So take that and do what you will with it.
that is so powerful. And the family values, the education, the desire to teach others what you know.
Mm,
That that's something that's celebrated, should be celebrated
mm,
through the culture because that's not your story. That's really our story.
mm-hmm.
Um, and if you if you're in America and you know anything about what happened at the beginning of America,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't allowed to read.
Yes, I'm
Um,
aware.
and
Not just
so
America, even in Africa,
yeah,
we're
so
not
so
allowed to read.
so people would actually learn how to read and
Yes,
then secretly go back and teach the others.
yes,
And so when you told me that people couldn't afford an education, but you were um, able to
teaching.
get a private education,
Mm-hmm.
and you came back and you saw something
Mm-hmm.
that in your young mind you
From the age of
felt
5.
wasn't right. You felt this isn't right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why do I get this and they don't?
Mm-hmm.
And you made a decision at the age of 5,
Yes.
at the age of 5 to say, leave no brother or sister behind.
Hmm.
You know, have you spoken to any of those children?
They're all adults, aren't they? So
Yeah.
before I left, you know, I remember going back to bury my grandfather, and I saw them for the first time. And I'm saying this to you now, and I'm kind of welling up, trying to hold my emotions down.
No, no, no. Go, go, go,
You
go.
you know, um, I never really knew the impact I was making. I never really knew the impact I was making
Right.
until I returned to bury my grandfather. And I remember those, not all, but some of the people died. So my granddad was somebody who was a phenomenal, open-hearted, kind, generous person. And I remember that we spent, he used to come home with strays. You know, when I say strays, he'd
Strays.
come home with,
Yeah.
we used to say strays, but he used to come home with people who are rough sleepers, who hadn't eaten. He would clean them up. He would give them clothes, whatever he had, you know. And that was our home. We our home was a revolving doors. Even though there was a lot of us already, um, it was still open to others. And so when he passed away, I didn't really understand as a child, you know, the impact that he made until he passed away. And I went to the funeral, and there were over 600 people at this funeral,
Wow.
and the whole street was closed off, you know, for his funeral. And I kept thinking, why did we here? And people kept coming up to me and saying how what a great man, you know, he was, and how he changed their lives, what he did for them. It was just person after person after person after person. um, and that really blew me away. And the children, as you say, that I was helping, I saw a few of them who said to me, really missed you when you left, you know, because up until I left the country, I was still teaching, I was still bringing what I had learned to others. And I just was doing it because I just thought to myself, well, did you be able to read and write? And it came about because one day I was, so one day I'd convinced, I'd convinced my grandmother that I wanted to have, you know, a corner plot top of our road to be able to sell things. We call them hawking. You know, back in Africa, we have people that hawk things in their heads.
Mm-hmm.
They have different, like, you know, peanuts and, you know, bananas and so on and so forth. My favorite thing to eat back then was banana and peanuts and oranges. I said, okay, I'd like to do this too. But one of the girls wanted to come and join me, you know, for something to do, just wanted to come and join me. And so we came to getting the customers change and calculate. I was still a child at this point, calculating. And I realized that she didn't know, I was calculating and she wasn't sure. She didn't really know what to do. She didn't know her numbers. And that struck me. And I thought, oh, okay. So I was teaching her then, and she was listening, and, you know, I would get her to repeat what I said and so on and so forth. That was how it began. And I thought, how many more of these people could, you know, could be going through what she's going through? And that's how I guess my love for imparting knowledge began. You know, so when I went back to bury my granddad, I remember people coming up to me and saying, you made an impact. Just telling me stories of where and how what I thought was something so little and insignificant had taken them to. And I remember having two parents in particular, two mothers, who said, oh my goodness, I can never thank you. They came to me like thanking me. And I'm thinking, what have I done? Until they began to tell me what really I had done for them, how I'd helped their children. And I was blown away. I was so emotional about it because I didn't realize what I had been doing at the time. But yeah, you just don't know what impact you're going to have. To me, it was nothing. To them, it was something huge.
Absolutely. And there's always someone looking at you and
Yes. Well, I was always
admiring
watching.
what you're doing. And that's the odd part is our actions speak way louder than our words.
Yes. Firm believer of
And
that, by the way.
and you may not understand someone's action. You may not
Mhm.
understand my actions. You may not understand Christiana's actions. But there's someone out there right now that is listening to this that is saying, I need to do something like that.
Mm.
Or I need to find someone like Christiana in my life that
Mhm.
can help me get
Yes.
over. Now, I am not someone who follows a specific religion, but I
Yes.
do believe in God, right?
Yes. Same here.
I'm very spiritual, and
Mhm.
I would say at the age of 5 that that was a gift. That wasn't anything that
Mm.
you learned. It was a natural gift that just flowed out of you.
Yes.
And I don't know, I don't even know if you know why you did it.
No.
You just did it. You weren't doing it for the accolades. You weren't doing it to say, look at me.
Yes.
You were doing it, I believe, because something in your head that you couldn't, there's no way you could have fully understood at 5
No.
the
I
impact
didn't. I didn't. I didn't
that you were
understand.
doing.
No.
That is divine intervention,
Yes.
and meaning that someone took, they took you and placed you
Mm.
where you can make a difference in people's lives. And what I
Yes.
find really, really interesting about that, if I'm correct, you are still doing that. You're learning about yourself,
Mhm.
and then you're sharing your
Yes.
experience to help others. So that
Yes.
5-year-old girl is still living in you today,
Yes.
just
Essentially.
just in a different form
Yes.
with more knowledge.
Hmm.
So how did we get from, well, actually, what age did you leave Nigeria?
I was about 12 and a half.
Okay. And when you got to the UK, what was your
Mhm.
first thought?
Oh my goodness, it's so cold. It was freezing. I was like, why didn't anybody tell me about this? I came on the plane with my mother and we had other conversations, but the conversation of how truly freezing and cold it would be did not come up. You just said, "No, I'll have a jacket with you." I got
Yeah.
you a jacket, and when I got off the plane, I was like, "Can we please get off the plane and go back? I cannot be here. It's too cold." So yes, it was freezing.
Did you like it compared to Nigeria?
No,
You didn't.
no,
Okay. That's very interesting.
I
That's
didn't.
interesting. So why did you stay?
My
I
whole
mean,
family, my whole family
after
here.
12, your grandparents, everyone?
No, my grandparents are both gone. In fact, all three, all my both sides are gone. But my parents were here. My parents are still here. My brothers, my siblings, everyone is here. And so this became my life. Um, and when I came here, I came to meet other siblings, even though I was the firstborn.
Okay.
So I had other siblings to help look after and to get to know and get to meet. So yes, my family are here essentially.
So from the time that you were born to 12,
Hmm.
you had never met your other siblings? They never came to
No,
visit Nigeria? How about your parents?
my father did. My
Okay.
mother, I met my mom for the first time when she came to get me at 12 and a half years old.
And you were good with that?
No, We haven't got long enough in this show to talk about that.
Okay. No. I'm sorry. We're not going to go down any road you don't want to go down. But you know, you're in Nigeria. You've been raised. Your grandmother is probably who you consider your
My
mom
mother,
at that
yes.
moment, right?
Hmm.
And so
And my
this,
grandfather too, yes.
yeah. So your mom, who you're like this lady, is coming and saying, "I'm removing you from everything that you know,
Hmm.
and we're going here."
Yes.
And you're 12.
Hmm.
So what I'm doing is I'm putting on my magic hat, right? So at 12 years old, you're already starting to have, uh,
12 and a half years old, yes.
yeah, you're starting to go through all the teenage stuff, right?
Hmm.
You're trying to figure out if you're an adult or if you're a kid, and you're trying to figure out, your life, and things are changing, right? So did you go kicking and screaming, or like, how did you get on the plane?
My grandfather, my granddad,
Okay.
he was always the calming, reasoning, supportive, the voice that I always listened to. And he was the one who had the job of breaking the news to me.
Breaking the news to you. So he
Yes.
knew he knew that you weren't going to be super excited about it.
He didn't, no, he knew that I wasn't going to be happy
Okay.
about it.
Got it. And then after a while, you're there. Does everything just meld together seamlessly, or did it take you like 6 months to a year to like stop being angry?
Transition period did not exist.
Okay.
So you literally hit the ground running. That's for a book.
Yeah. That's very, very interesting. And
Mm,
so leaving Nigeria and going into London, you're in London?
Essex at the time.
Essex.
Mhm.
Okay. So as a metropolis, as a city,
Mhm.
are there similarities or are they vastly different?
You know, they were very different because you come from a place that is very populated to a place that, especially living in Essex, it was very much um, almost you come from a place where you are steeped in your identity of who you are. And then you go into Essex. Back then, Essex was a place where there were barely anyone that looks like me.
Right. I was going to go into that in a second.
So although London was seemingly somewhat um, multicultural, where we were, wasn't that much multicultural, and so you are very visible where you are, very visible.
Okay. Because I was going to go from, you're seeing all of the greatness in your culture,
Hmm.
and you're seeing what needs to improve,
Hmm.
and you're represented by your grandmother and other women that you see that are doing things,
Hmm. And men, but
and
a lot of
men.
women, yes.
Yes. And then you come to a place and you look around for your people,
Hmm.
and your people are your family, and maybe one other family or two other families in
Mm.
that area.
Mm.
Was that a hard road to travel?
I think to say it was a hard road to travel is an understatement.
Okay. I was trying to be like politically correct. Go ahead. Go ahead, because you're going from, I'm sorry, people, but you're going from African excellence
Mhm.
to, I'm Christiana Johnson, and I have to prove to you that I am worthy
Mm.
in some situations, right?
Yes.
Um, because you may be the first person that they've met from Africa, or there's a, how did it go?
There was a lot of ignorance,
That's, yeah.
on reflection, there was a lot of ignorance. When I say a lot, that was on a daily basis of ignorance. So
Name calling, heckling.
just different questions, different things. School wasn't that easy. That my first school, I remember being one of the only black girls in my school, in the whole school. And although I sound like this right now, when I first came here, I had a thick African accent,
Okay.
you know, and that made for an interesting daily life as a teenager, because you have all the questions, you have all of the unwanted attention, negative attention. Quite the right word would be quite startling, quite stark attention that you don't require or ask for.
Right.
You know, you spend the time thinking, I don't want to draw any more attention to myself. And therefore, you remain in your quiet zone. Imagine I was a child who was very much outspoken, very happy childhood, very confident, you know, person. And then you arrive here, and the first thing people look at you. I remember once somebody tried to spit, actually not tried to, they spat at me. And I'd never experienced that before. And it really, you sit and you think, why? And the whole time I was here, I never unpacked my suitcase.
For how many years?
I think until I got to about probably 18.
So that means you never felt like it was home
No,
for 6 years.
5.5 years to be exact.
That's deep. And then what's interesting is you talk about helping people find clarity and confidence after they've experienced a traumatic
Mm-hmm.
issue.
Yes.
How did you gain clarity and confidence? How did you find your voice after your voice was always there? So people, here's what we have to remember is that God planted something inside of us. And
Yes,
what's
it does.
inside of us is always there.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments where, like they say in every superhero movie, remember who you are.
Yes.
Remember who you are.
That kept me going.
And
Kept me going.
so this move changed, not forever, but for a moment, your voice, your confidence.
I still had my voice to a certain degree in other ways. And the suitcase thing for me was I never felt that I was fully in a place that's accepting, right? And anything could happen at any given moment. But nonetheless, I was still that person who spoke my mind, right? I stood my ground
At school and at home?
at school, to a certain degree at home, but not as much because,
Okay.
you know, the children should be heard and not seen, or seen and not heard.
Yeah,
Right?
I literally
Yeah.
believe that was the worst thing that you could ever tell a child, in my opinion, because children have voices, and what you're doing is you're silencing them. And when you silence them, it means they grow up not knowing. I wasn't until I was in my 20s when I
Yes.
realized that I could tell somebody of authority no,
Yes. Yes.
or give them my opinion.
Mhm.
Because and that's how I actually moved up in the world, because I finally said that's not the right thing to do. We should do it this way. And
Yes.
people were like, "Oh my God, that kid who's never spoken before just spoke." And they all
Yes.
turned and looked at me, and then I never shut up after that. But that scenario comes from people telling you, Don't talk to grown folks like that.
Mm.
Children should be seen and not heard. Um,
But here's the
all of
thing,
that. Go ahead.
I had the opposite. So my grandparents raised me to speak and to speak with confidence. The only exception, or sorry, the only um, warning, I would say, to that rule is that so long as you're not rude or arrogant about it, right? So you can speak up because you have a voice. I was raised to have a voice.
That's
Then
exceptional.
I carried that across. And for a moment, I was like, I still have a voice, but now I've got to watch where I place my voice, where I put my voice, which spaces, which places can I use that voice. Lo and behold, what was instilled in me never actually left me. So whilst I was at school, I was still a businesswoman. I was. I was still into, okay, so back home I was somebody who, played football with the boys in the streets, you know, became a football captain. When I came here, the same thing in school. Um, we call it, you guys call it soccer, we call it football.
Right. I get you.
Right. So I did that. I used to make handmade bracelets and woven bracelets, and I would sell them in school back then during lunchtime. While others were reading, I was still reading, but I was still selling things. I used to make my own money because we were taught that thing of, as a woman, you need to be independent, right? You got to, even when you are married, you must have your own money ultimately. And so those key things were still in me. And I chose my moments in when people went to challenge and when not to. I remember one situation. I was in school. Even the teachers made, you know, racially aggravating comments.
What?
It wasn't just the children, yes. It wasn't just the children, it was also the teachers. Um, and so you never had a back in, apart from one teacher, Miss Evans. I will never forget Miss Evans. She was both my classroom teacher and my art teacher. And one of the reasons why is because her parents, her father, and the family had moved to Nigeria um, for a period of time. I think she lived in Nigeria for about 6, 7 years. And so she got to really understand the cultures, understand people, and so on and so forth. And for her, it was such a difference in culture from living in the UK to travel across to another country and then returning as a child. So she already had some idea, and she became my defense, my defense
Right.
in those moments. But I remember one lesson. I had written an essay for my English essay, my teacher. And I remember the paper I had written was given back to me. And there was a full capital F and circled. And underneath, in capital letters, he said, "Come and see me." And up until that point, I had never failed anything in my life. My transcript or results from Nigeria was always first position. So in schools, we had, in school where you have more children in one classroom, I was always first position. I always came first in everything. And I was quite competitive. Not quite. I was very competitive. So studying for me was something that I could do easily as a child, whether I'm cramming things or whether I'm getting first position. When I came here, I remember doing that essay and having a big fat fail on the paper saying, "Come and see me." And I went to go and see my teacher. And he didn't ask me the question. He accused me. He made the assumption
You
that
didn't
I had
write it?
either plagiarized or somebody more senior to me wrote that paper. And so we got into this. And when I heard those words, I was quite frustrated and annoyed about it. And so my proposition to him was, okay, give me lunch hour. Let me sit down and give me a subject. I'll write the paper in front of you. If that makes you happy. So he said to me, "What do you mean?" The question he asked me was, "Who helped you write this paper?" Is it your cousin? Is it your mother, your father, your brother? Is it your elder brother or sister? I said, I'm the eldest. So there's no one older than me that's going to write this for me. But I guess to defend myself and to prove myself, I had to rewrite that essay by myself in the classroom in my lunchtime. And when he marked it, I still got the top score for that paper. But here's the thing. He did not at any point say, actually, I was wrong, right? There was no apology. There was nothing. It was just like, oh, here you go. Well done. Not even a well done.
So
Here you go.
you did two papers for him
Yes, in the end.
with two different subjects. And did he give you even like a glowing grade at
He
the
gave me,
end?
yeah, so he filmed me for the first paper. The second paper I did for him, I scored the top mark.
Right. So he should have also gave you a top mark for that first paper too.
He should have done, but he didn't.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm tired.
that paper that I did became the paper that he used for the one that he failed me for, right? But here's the thing: there was no comment made. It was just given to me.
Because he did not owe you the respect of saying, I made a
No,
mistake.
no, no.
And, the thing that I want people to hear is that you had to prove yourself
Mm-hmm.
over anyone else. Now, one thing, and I'm not comparing you to your friend any, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that he said was that when he came to the UK,
Yes.
that he felt like he was far more educated than the
Oh,
people he was
absolutely.
going to school with.
Absolutely. Yes.
So why
Absolutely.
is it, because you live in the UK and I'm sure you
Mm-hmm.
get the news that we get over
Mm-hmm.
here, why is it that people have this misconception about not just Nigeria but Africa
Africa.
as a whole? And the second part is Africa is the wealthiest continent
Mm-hmm.
in our world.
Yes.
And people come and they steal the resources.
Especially
They
raw materials and raw resources. Yes.
Yeah, and the people are giving.
Mm.
I someone someone told me once that they said, go ahead and take it because you're coming here with malaria, so take it and go home. Um,
Mm.
why do we hear this one narrative, but the facts are totally opposite of the
Because
truth?
places like UK and America. So let me rewind just slightly back. My then teacher didn't want to apologize, but he thought he had his own way of making up for what he had done. And what he did was to enter me into a writing competition,
Okay.
right? And he entered me into a writing competition, which I then went on to win. And it was the top prize at the time was a whole set of encyclopedias. That was the top set. So I got the whole set of encyclopedias. And that was his way of making up for what he had done, essentially. Now
That's
to
how
answer
you interpreted it then, or that's how you're interpreting it today with the new lens?
then,
Okay. All right.
because that was very clear to me,
Okay.
right? Because if somebody in my young mind, it was, well, you couldn't apologize. You knew you were wrong. I've proved myself. And now you think, oh my goodness, she's actually good at something and she may be good at this. You believed in my ability. And that's why you entered me in the competition. But if you didn't believe that I had the ability to, go far in the competition, you would not have entered me
Right.
or thought about me full stop. So that was, I guess, his way of apologizing. But to answer your question, we are and we live in a country, in a space, I would say the West, in a space where images of Africa, or rather negative images of Africa is continuously perpetuated. So things like help the child. We see children who are presented in adverts with flies around their faces, with, oh my goodness, here is UNICEF or here's Oxfam. Help this child today, support an African child, let's get clean water and so on and so forth. And that image remains till this day. So people make the assumption. I remember when I came here, people asked me if I caught fish with spears.
No, they didn't.
Yes, that was a daily conversation. That was a daily conversation. Do you catch fish with spears? Do you tie those things around you? Do you get your boots? It's just like so many crazy things. Do you have clothes? All the questions, all the assumptions. I also had a teacher that came out with such a comment about how it was Africans that began or caused AIDS. Via
Having sex with monkeys.
perversions with monkeys, right?
Yeah, stupid.
And I had to really sit down in the lesson. I mean, I got into trouble sometimes, but I didn't really care because I needed to educate my teachers. So again, it's being raised when to use your voice, right? Till this day, I say to myself, read the room. There's a place and time for everything. That's the one thing that my grandparents always said to me, like, there's a place and time for everything. Choose your battles wisely.
Yes.
And so it was about choosing my battles wisely when it came to my teachers, because they were my subordinates ultimately. However, not when you are coming up with a nonsense that I know better. I know better, right? And I understand better. I've been taught better. I knew my history coming to this country. And it pained others. It didn't pain me. I had people around me who were confused of the history. Let's look at the history. We haven't got enough time for the history right now. But here is the thing. When I hear people say to me, oh, you people are, begging for money. I've heard that. You came to this country to beg for money. I'm like, actually, we came to this country to raise the standards of this country, right? You still hold artifacts of ours. You still hold our jewels, okay, that people refuse to return.
Yep.
So people, yes, when it comes to history,
it's one of the it's a people that have been taken from, stolen from,
yes,
and stolen.
yes,
People stolen to help build up other countries, and then denied the brilliance of their own existence. After living in Essex for a while, and you go back to your grandfather's funeral, how and you've been in Essex, seeing the videos with the flies and everything else. When you went back to Nigeria, how did it look to you from the lens of an adult?
it looked the same. It looked the same in the sense that there was still my rich culture, number one. Number two, there was still a community. The one thing that I grew up really understanding is the community that supports. We come out together, we support each other, we cook, we do this, we clean, when one person is down, people will find a way to pick them up and support and be there. That's the one thing over here that those who are coming over here were quite shocked when it comes to things like family life. There is no such thing as family life.
Over in Essex,
in UK, yes,
UK.
generally just in the UK.
Well, in America too.
Don't value family life.
No,
That wasn't the experience. That really wasn't the experience, and it's so. It was really good to go back to see and to understand, to look at it from an adult lens, and to also to know that what was instilled in me was so worth it. And here I was it making sense, and people saying to me, "This is the impact that you had on us," and being very grateful of the early childhood that I had, being very, absolutely very, I say grateful, being really thankful rather for it, because it did so much and still does so much till this day. What I
Absolutely.
was raised with has remained with me for life. There have been lessons for life, whether it's going to business, whether it's the way that I hear people, listen to people are there. Um, there's so many things that I would say I returned looking around, and not all good things either, you know. And as we know, our country has all these riches, but there's still unrest in the country. There's
Yeah,
still
but the unrest is political unrest. It's the have and the have-nots. It's the people that are taking the resources and reselling it to other countries, and then
hmm
using the underprivileged to get those resources. And
yes.
and so what that says to me, if we got the Western civilization out of Africa and
Mm,
allowed Africa to just own its own stuff, that unrest would probably settle down a little bit because that
yes.
continent has enough
To feed
in.
itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to ask you or say this, and then I want to go move to a different topic real quick.
Yes.
But one of the things I want people to recognize, and this is the difference between someone that comes from Africa and a Black
Mhm.
American, okay?
Yes.
And the reason why I say Black American is because we don't know if we're from Africa or if we're from uh, the Caribbean. We don't know where we're from because we were a stolen people
Yes.
here, and because of that, our entire history was erased,
hmm
and we were pitted against each other because of the shade of our skin.
Mm.
You, Christiana, have the value
Mm.
of
Yes.
knowing the pride of where you come from.
Yes.
So when you're looking at a group of people that can only go back to the slave days,
hmm
that's all they know. They don't know, unless we do a DNA test where we came from, but that's not instilled in us.
No.
And our paternal part, the fathers were always removed from the home. They did that intentionally.
Absolutely.
So
Divide and conquer. hmm
yeah, so I love hearing these stories, not because I want you to relive your childhood,
Yes. I don't mind.
but because it gives me a sense of pride.
yes.
It reminds me what I already know, and that is valuable. Now
Yes.
you have this ability right now. We're going to switch lanes.
So
You
before we
have a
switch lanes,
yes,
let me tell you another story, which
sure.
is not just a story, but the truth. So my granddad, and I've kind of had to really ask others just to ensure when they were young, when they were young people, they were not allowed to speak their own language. They were not allowed to speak their own language in towns. They were banned from speaking our mother tongue, which I'm so blessed I was raised in Africa, because that for me is not an issue. So they would have to leave, they would have to wait till they were in the village to speak their mother tongue, or else they face punishment or death.
What were they supposed to speak?
English. They couldn't speak their own mother tongue. So they'd have to wait till they were in the village to speak their mother tongue. But in the cities and towns, they had to speak English.
So what that says to me is no matter where we have been,
Mm.
there's been a foot on our neck. So even in your own country,
Country.
somebody else comes in
Hmm.
and tells you you cannot speak unless you speak the way I think you should speak.
Yes, 100%.
And I want people to hear that in America as we talk about just immigration and as we think about, who belongs and who doesn't. This
Hmm.
land did not belong to us. Period.
Hmm.
Half of it was Mexico, and we came and took it. Not us, not me. I didn't.
Yes.
I was taken.
Yes.
Um, but there's a lot to learn, and
Mm.
that's one of the reasons. I don't know if you understand this, Christiana, but they are in our public schools refusing to allow our children to read certain history books.
Yes.
So that's so that we don't know our
The
history,
truth.
so that we
Yes.
don't know the truth.
Same here in
There's
the UK.
We
Same,
don't
same
know
here in
the
the
truth,
UK. Yes.
and and that's a shame because if we know the truth, it doesn't diminish anybody else out there. It helps us to understand who we are.
Oh, it does. I think that's the fear. The fear is it will diminish others out there.
Do you
Because
think
think
so?
about
Because
it.
I think that we're a very forgiving people. Number
We
one,
we we are, we are, but it is not our fear. It's the fear of others,
right,
right? Because imagine if we had to switch or role reverse. The thought is, look what we did to these people. How can they still be walking around so mild? Because we would not be as mild as they are if that happened to us. So let
right,
us not tell the truth. Let us not show the truth. Let us not speak the truth. Okay? Because that fear is still there. It's how would it truly behave? Look what happened when George Floyd was murdered. Can you imagine if the world got to hear the truth from our perspective?
right, right. But you do recognize. Okay, we're really going down a path. You do recognize that things like George Floyd, the
Mm.
reason why the black community gets so upset is
Hmm.
because we can film something, we can show you the truth, and you can still spin it and blame us
Absolutely.
and make us the victim. Same with Trayvon Martin, a
Hmm.
12-year-old walking down the street with
Mind it is business.
a Skittles and a soda and getting shot by a rent-a-cop.
Hmm.
And that rent-a-cop raises millions of dollars. Or, okay, we can't,
We're going to relentless path.
we're just,
I could be here all
this
day.
could be a whole show, right?
Yes.
Because it's just not right. And I have a friend that voted for gun rights.
Hmm.
And I said to him, you do realize that those rights are not meant for you.
No.
Because if they see you with an open carry, you're going to get shot.
Hmm.
So you can be Billy Badass all you want and vote yes for the right to carry,
Hmm.
and you'll be the first one to go down.
Yes. Yes.
So wave that gun out and let's see what happens.
Hmm.
Um, you have an instinct to walk into a moment where someone's hurting and immediately know not what to do.
Hmm.
Most people, even people with good hearts, say the wrong things.
Hmm.
And I'll say this because I've been
Okay.
up and down, especially right now during this our economy. You
Hmm.
know, sometimes people don't want you to fix it; they just want to be heard.
Yes. I agree.
You know, my cousin asked me the other day. This is my favorite story. He said, "How are you?"
Oh my
And he
goodness.
knows what I'm going through, right?
Mm.
And so I texted him back. I said, I'm here. I'm doing this. This is what's happening in my house. And this is what's happening. I just gave him the whole rundown because things are not good.
Yes.
9 hours later, I texted him and I said, I think it's very funny. You asked me how I was. And when I told you, you went crickets.
Hmm.
So there's two sides to this.
Yes.
Number one, there's if I say something that I'm having a bad day or I'm going through a traumatic experience,
Mm-hmm.
don't ask if I've done this, that, and the other.
Hmm.
All right. Because I'm not
Mhm.
asking you for that. I'm just telling you, because
Yes.
everyone starts out with how they're going to fix it. Right. And the second thing is, if you ask somebody how they're doing, genuinely
Hmm.
listen.
Yes.
Just listen. Because he
Mm-hmm.
said to me, what was I supposed to say? You could have said, well, damn. I would have been
Hmm.
fine with that. But
Yes.
it's the crickets. It's the fact that nothing
Mm-hmm.
occurred. Um, how do you know what to say?
I guess when I look on reflection, my whole life experience has brought me to this point. I'm also experiencing certain traumas in life, including child loss or baby loss, and so you get to really understand how to read the room. When I say to you that I'm always grateful for, I'm always thankful, and I feel blessed that I experienced my grandparents a lot, if not 90% of how I am today is who they were, the things they instilled in me, the way that they nurtured me. And so part and parcel of that is really understanding how to read a room. Because you're right in what you said. We don't always want the fix it answer. Just to know that there's somebody there that can sit with us, that can really, empathize, that can just be there for us to be present and to take up that space in that moment. I always go back to Job. I don't, and you say you're not religious or anything, but Job in the Bible, when he was losing everything, when the devil said to him, "If you come to me, if you believe in me, I'll make all this pain go away." Right, to the point his wife said to him, "Why are you struggling? Why are you going through this pain? Just give in." But his friends came. And even though his friends, his friends, some of them were no help at all. They came and they sat with him in times of his struggles and his pain, and they said nothing. If he needed to sit in silence, he sat. They sat with him in silence. That in in those moments was okay for him because that's what he needed. He needed
Right.
to know I have someone here who is sat with me, even though we're not having a conversation, but they're here present with me for me. And sometimes, if not many times, that's what we need. We need to know there's somebody there that we can fall back under that cushion as opposed to having nobody at all. Right? And so it isn't always about the words, it's about the intention to let someone know that you are here or I am here for you, even without words. Why? You mentioned something very key at the beginning of this live. When we think about it, actions speak louder than words or voice.
Yeah.
And so the action to be present has so much more weight than just words that are unhelpful, unintentionally unhelpful. So that's why. That's why.
So you talked about your loss,
Mhm.
and that led you to do you? I mean, I'm someone who doesn't deal with emotions very well,
Mhm.
so I don't want to bring something up that's triggering.
Oh, it's
Uh,
okay. I'm fine. Let's talk.
okay, so you lost a child,
Pregnancies.
pregnancies.
Yes.
Okay. So you had 3 pregnancies.
Hmm.
The first question I'm going to ask you is, does it differ for the mother depending on how far along she is?
No. And this is the conversations I've had many conversations about this. In my practice, I hear this a lot. And my response to each person each time is no. The reason is because when, especially for those who having a family is what I call the icing on the cake. It is what they want, they need, they've prayed for, they're seeking. And to them, there is nothing else left to achieve in the world, right? The moment you know that you are carrying a child or you have that test and it's positive, you're excited, you are in 150,000%, right? No matter whether you are week 2, week 4, week 6, week 26, you are in. And when we experience, when we think of pregnancy, when we think of, oh my goodness, I'm pregnant, it's a joyful occasion. You're now sold in. The thought of losing a pregnancy or losing a baby does not enter one's mind, right?
But quick question.
Yes.
So most people that I know don't
Mm,
tell anyone until after the first trimester
yes.
because that's where you're most at risk. Am I correct with that?
Mhm. You're most at risk from week 1 to week 12. That's what people, the idea is that most miscarriages will happen within the first 12 weeks of pregnancy, although actually that extends to the first 22 to 23 weeks. Anything under 24 weeks, you're likely to miscarry. And so people wait because the reason why 12 weeks became the pivotal point is that you're having your first scan at 12 weeks, right? So after the 12-week period, if all seems well, people are like, okay, after very nice, great, it's good. But that's not guaranteed. It isn't really guaranteed. And nothing when it comes to pregnancy, motherhood, or carrying a baby is guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed.
So are there genetic reasons or biological reasons why someone would have more miscarriages than someone else?
Sometimes there are. So first of all, miscarriage will happen because of abnormalities in your chromosomes. So both male and female, again, there is this myth or misconception that, oh, well, it's the woman's fault that, she's miscarried. The reality is, it's both. Actually, mainly recent research shows that it's more the male than the female. Don't shoot me down. Go do your research.
Okay.
Just telling the audience.
Yeah, I
So
get you.
don't come for me. Go and do your research. But yeah, and so it's that thing of it when you experience abnormalities. There are also things like your habits, I would call it, and I mean lifestyle when I say your habits. Your lifestyle can contribute to you experiencing miscarriages.
So being too active or
No,
too
so you're
wild.
too wild.
Well, because
So
like some people don't know that they're pregnant, and so they're out drinking and
and
having fun until they find out. And like, how does that affect?
so there are people who actually are pregnant and go for a run marathons, So, but the reality is each person is different.
Right.
If you're somebody who is, and I can say this for myself as an example, which I'll come to in a moment. If you're somebody who is used to exercise and you fall pregnant and you want to continue exercising, yes, by all means, continue your exercise, but be reasonable about it. You know, I don't know if you know, here in the UK, the famous marathon runner called Paula Radcliffe. She came to, she did, I think she did the New York marathon a couple of times.
I
Okay.
don't, but go ahead.
But she was a quite well-known marathon runner. She was pregnant when she did the marathon. People thought she was crazy. And she, carried that baby till full term. So it all depends on the individual. It depends on what your DNA says. It depends on your lifestyle. There is so many variants to you carrying a child. Okay. If you're experiencing consecutive miscarriages, I'm going to be consecutive, almost like 2, 3 in a row, then I would say you have to really you have to be investigated, because again, that could be happening to you because of your genetics, right? So it's really important that as a mother and a father, or as a couple, as my couples, ensure that you are getting the proper checks done. Ensure that you are preparing the body in a healthy way, in a healthy manner, doing the right things to help you. But there are some people who would do that and still experience miscarriage. There is no one rule or one set. And that being said, there is still ongoing research about miscarriage, trying to find out exactly why this happens. It is still a phenomenon that even the professionals themselves struggle with. It isn't a cookie cutter or one size fits all. It's on merits on each individual. And
Each individual, or each individual and each pregnancy?
each individual in each pregnancy.
So here's a question for you, and don't laugh at me.
Okay.
But, oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this. But on the Kardashians, both Kim and Khloe were told that they had hard pregnancies, and so they both had to use surrogates. Now, I found that to be, was that a money thing, or was it, because they could afford to and they didn't want to mess up their bodies? But is that normal? And I know that with Kim, like she filmed like her last pregnancy before she did the surrogate, that she was having a really hard time with it. Preeclampsia, other things. What is your thought on surrogacy? And the other question I have for you is, what is your thought when people are dismissive of parents of adopted children?
Oh my goodness. Stop it. You're going to get on my soapbox. So the first question, in terms of, I don't really watch the Kardashians.
How could you not?
I don't, because I have a lot. I'm joking.
No, Bruce is a woman now. Come on.
No, because they don't interest me. It sounds awful, but it's just not my cup of tea.
No, that's not awful.
I have other things. I have other things to do with my life.
That's not awful. I'm ashamed that I know this. But it did bring up things like preeclampsia. I don't know what preeclampsia is, and high risk birth, and that we can get surrogates, but that's not available to everybody.
No, so think about it, right? When you just bear with me a second, please.
You're fine.
When you think, so when it comes to difficult pregnancies, it's really important to say that some women, have and experience real difficulties in a pregnancy. Some are at risk of losing their lives, and the baby. And so each person will make a different choice to suit them. I cannot speak for the Kardashians. I don't have the medical records to know
I'll
exactly.
send them to you. No, I don't. People know I'm not that invested in the Kardashians. I don't have their medical records. Sorry.
So when it comes to preeclampsia, it's about really taking lots of bed rest because you're dealing with high blood pressure.
Okay.
High blood pressure that is really after 20 weeks of pregnancy. For some, it's something that you risk losing your life, and the baby, or baby coming out having defects. So there's a choice there to make. Some people do go on to really give birth, but they are on bed rest for most of the pregnancy, and they're monitored. They're deemed as high risk. So like I said, I can't speak for the Kardashians, but
Okay, let's leave their name out of it.
I
I
can
feel bad. I brought it up.
but I can understand. I can understand why they may take the option and take advice to go a different route,
Got it.
because it suits them. The second question you said was, remind me
Dismissive
again,
of a
dismissive of adoption.
adopted. Yeah. Like that's not really your child. And
So,
to me, the family unit is the family unit.
mhm,
And I would be very upset if I had a child
mhm,
no matter how they came into this world, and
mhm,
someone told them that they were adopted, or because they were adopted, that
mhm,
they really weren't really a blood relative.
mhm. So here's the thing. I I get my soapbox in this. I don't agree with that comment. I really don't. The first thing is, let's look at how different ways in which children come into the world. Surrogacy, IVF. I remember I was once told that if you have a child through IVF, then they will not enter, or they will not be a child of God. They're not deemed as a child of God. And that really got me thinking of the kind of people that will come up with such comments. Because first of all, children are a blessing, no matter how they enter the world. They're a blessing. They're meant to be here. We are fearfully and wonderfully created. Okay? Being here. Each of us are unique in our own rights. So that's my first thing. The second thing is, I don't even listen to those comments. I haven't got the time. I don't have the airspace or the mind space or the head space for any of it. I really believe that nobody can tell you how you choose to have a family.
Absolutely.
Nobody can tell you that. It's entirely up to you how you want to, whether you go through adoption, surrogacy, IVF, and so on and so forth. It is your choice. And I also believe that those comments come from, certain environments, because ultimately we can become the product of our environment. And when you ask that question,
So you're saying that you're going back to your childhood days in Essex. It comes from a place of ignorance.
sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it comes from experience, right? That person could have had such an experience that they're not wanting to share. That could be an experience, pain, trauma, or going through that process, obtaining a child in that way, and we're not successful, or did it work for them? And
Uh,
now it's a case of, actually, you shouldn't be doing that.
Adopting though, that's my question.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
so you believe
So
that
this is what I'm referring to.
okay. So
Yes.
that
Because
can
that does
come from an
happen.
experience because
Yes.
it's an experience that they've had that now they
Yes.
don't think that the adopted
So,
child is worthy. And I'm trying to
so,
figure that one out.
so some people have gone through the process of wanting to have that as an option to them, and it's not available to them, right? And so it becomes a sticking point. it becomes a traumatic journey. Having not achieved that, so that essentially is what happens, because the process itself is an arduous process. It can be a traumatic experience, a very highly intensive process to go through, and quite rigorous process to go through, depending on where in the world you're looking to experience adoption. So it's one that I believe that no one has the right to speak on adoption and to tell anyone if they should or shouldn't. And I've heard comments, and I mean negative comments, made about it. And you really got to think to yourself, hold on a second, what are we talking about? I always think about the character of the people that will have such a negative view. Because essentially, you are giving love, you're giving a home to a child that clearly needs one, because you do not know what path, where that child would have ended up. And here are people who are prepared to give love, to give a home, to bring joy, to have joy, to be given joy, to experience joy. Yes, and to say that a lot comes out of it, because again, depending on when you adopt that child, whether babies or a certain age, there might be traumatic experience. There might be trauma for both the child and both the adopters. And so no one has the right to say that unless you have experienced it yourself personally.
So let's go down this final path. I could talk to you until tomorrow, but I know you're busy. So right now in the U.S., we're dealing with women's rights and women's rights to choose. Do you think people should be forced to have children, or not forced, but
encouraged?
Is everyone meant to be a parent?
That's a good question. I often ask that question myself, because sometimes you witness certain parenting and you ask yourself the question, how can you be that kind of parent?
Yeah.
Right? And in some cases, I'll go back to adoption. Children end up in services or end up in the care system because that's a better option than being with the parents, because they're at risk of death, risk of,
all sorts of stuff,
all kinds of things, abuse and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I've seen a woman throw her child into a car and then cuss it out, and the child wasn't even old enough to talk. I think it was walking, but it wasn't old enough to talk, and it was crying, and I was just like, some people aren't equipped to be parents.
Yes.
So the question is that, and then the other question is, if for medical reasons the child may be in I don't know how to say it, because I think everybody is a human, no matter how they're created.
Yes.
But if the parent decides to stop the pregnancy because the child may have
defects.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
So if the parent decides for pregnancy, I still believe that every child is a child, that comes into the world. We have children who have disabilities in the world. And I believe, let me get this right, you're speaking about termination where a child is deemed to be defective.
I'm talking about two. So we're talking about three different things, right? We're talking about, should everybody be a parent? Then we're talking about termination.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're talking about, because termination is you have the right to terminate a pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on that? And then for medical reasons,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts? And that could be that the child is not perfect. I don't want to say disabled or defective,
Yes.
or that the mother may be in a position
Mm.
where her life is at stake.
Yes, I understand that. So, if I say that, let me say this. My husband is the last of 10 children. Okay. So, his mother gave birth to 10 single pregnancies. And in between that, there was a miscarriage. When she was pregnant with him, she was advised to terminate that pregnancy because it detected, um, and there was defective, child, and the parents said no. Okay, whatever happens, whatever comes with this child, we will deal with it. And don't get me wrong, not every parent will have the the stamina or the mind to be able to say that or to endure that thought and that feeling and that emotions that comes with hearing your child would have um, conditions. Okay, and I thank God that he's here today with no issues. And throughout my life and throughout journeys, I've seen stories and witnessed just different stories. People say the doctors will, oh, just terminate the child. It has X, Y, and Z. The child is born, and it isn't actually what they thought it was going to be. So my view in saying this to you is, doctors are still humans, right? As I mentioned earlier, everybody, we all have a right to choose. Ultimately, I'm not saying we don't, but I would say we're humans and doctors are humans, okay? And nobody can play God at the end of the day. We're all human beings. You have the right to choose. However, I don't believe that a living being that you felt inside of you, for me personally, I cannot imagine, you know, um, terminating a pregnancy, even hearing that my child may have something wrong with them or may have a medical condition. But each parent is different. It will depend on their circumstances. It depends on whether that's the first child, second child. There isn't really one response to the questions you've asked. It's so different. For me personally, I don't necessarily believe in termination because, as I mentioned before, children are a gift. Even the ones that have been born with, conditions, they sometimes come, and in fact, it's crazy. I was having this conversation just earlier today about when a child is brought into a situation or a family, and that child is the one that becomes the glue
That holds everything
that
together. Yeah.
brings the family together, that brings joy, even in their state or their condition, medical condition they have. So nobody can really definitively say we are going according to. Had my late parents-in-law listened, my husband wouldn't be here, right? Because the advice was strongly termination. So I do believe, again, the adoption part, if you truly believe the child is here and you really can't deal with that, then how do you adopt that child? What then happens? That option, you're given that child the right to be in the world, to experience the world. And I came up with saying to me, now, what if that child, is either abused or has to go through difficulties because of the way they look or the way they are, and so on and so forth. I say, actually, let's think about it. The world isn't what it used to be. We've come a long way. We really have come a long way. And there is so much more support. There is so much more that is given, and so much more understanding, better
Yeah.
understanding than it used to be back in the 50s, in the 60s. We have so much information at our fingertips. And so we're looking at this in the different times. Now, for me, unless that parent or that mother really thinks, do you know what? I've got some parents will have probably 1, 2, 3, or 4 already, and they're thinking, okay, we can have another one because we haven't got the time. We don't have what it takes. We don't have the energy, and so on and so forth. Maybe you might want to adopt them or give them for adoption. But the reality is, it is not one size fits all. My view is, let that child live. You just never know.
I kind of figured that would be your answer.
Okay.
I kind of figured that just kind
Hmm.
of understanding your energy, following you for a little bit, that would be, and you did it in
Hmm.
such an eloquent way. You did not impose your view and say this is my global view, but
Hmm.
this is how I feel, and this is my belief, and I thought it was beautifully done.
Thank you.
So I want to tell people, and I'm bad at this. I appreciate all of the comments,
Yes.
but I try to focus on my guest so that we can have a conversation. And I'm a one man show. Like
Yes.
I don't have a producer back there popping things up. But let's just do you have just 1 second so we can kind of go through and see if there's anything that you want to
Oh, let's
respond
go.
to real
Let's
quick.
go through it. Yes.
All right. We're gonna work our way up. So
There's so many comments.
I
I've been
know
I've been like seeing the comments.
uh,
Yes.
Christy D. Williams says adoptive parents are parents. Right on. I
Yes.
agree with you on that one. Um, Mike says it is my understanding and belief that it behooves us to take
Hmm.
a pause and attempt to put ourselves in the shoes of the other. Seek
Yes.
first to understand,
Then
then to be
yes.
understood.
Hmm.
Beautifully said. This is directed to you, Christiana from Cherry Pua.
Oh, I was born, raised, baptized Catholic. Please send uneducated comments of my baby's willingness to me. Okay, so she said, please send uneducated comments of my baby's worthiness to me. I will,
Because you, you
I'll,
said you said you get that question a lot about adoptive parents.
yes, I do get that a lot about, because the truth of the matter is, a child is a blessing. You know, they are a blessing, and it's really important that we embrace children. And if only more people will do that, the world will be a better place.
Absolutely. And Cherry, you are a blessing.
She is a blessing.
So let
I
let's
know
let
Cherry very well. She's a blessing. She comes to my shows. She's
does
amazing.
she?
Yes.
Mike said I could see a situation where an adoptee has had a traumatic experience and because of that trauma might have adverse views towards it.
Yes. Yes, Mike. And that's why I mentioned people go through so many different things. The experience, it could be trauma, it could be experience themselves. You just never know what people are going through. Ultimately, um, that's why I don't believe that anyone can tell you whether you can adopt a child or not.
Wow. I am so sorry to hear this. And I'm so happy that you have your children today. Um,
Yes, yes, I do know Cherry very well. She's one of my my beautiful I'll call her a client actually, because we have spoken about this before, and I understand. Oh my goodness, it's Sharon Rose. Hello.
Sharon's been all over the comments. Omar is here. Do you know Omar?
Hi, Omar. No, I don't know him too well. No, I've seen him on the streets of LinkedIn.
The streets of LinkedIn. Let's see who else. Alvan, I've never seen you before. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be.
Alavine, Alavine,
Oh,
Alavine. Good
see, these
morning,
are all your
Alavine.
people. They're like following you.
She's happy to be here. Yay.
Beautiful message and beautiful energy. Thank you, Brandon Turner.
Thank you. Thank you, Brandon. So good to meet you.
This show always brings
Dixon.
encouragement and hope. Well, thank
Thank you.
you.
That's to you. See, fabulous.
Always, wait,
Awesome.
awesome show as always, Bill, and wonderful guest. Thank you,
Yes,
Christy.
thank you.
How do you protect your peace when helping others? That's a great question.
I love that question. I hope Clive is still here so we can answer this question. Um, I take the time for myself to meditate. You know, it's really important. Again, when you've been through things yourself, you build a resilience. And I saw the resilience growing up, you know, and partly taught that too, because you learn through watching other people's experiences. And whilst you're navigating the world yourself, it's important that you take the time out. For example, I don't know if you've noticed, I've not been on LinkedIn recently,
You
right?
said that when you accepted my
I haven't.
my invite.
I've had good months, 2 months off LinkedIn, because sometimes you just need to take the time out and have a time for yourself, rethink, reset the mind, and come back. That is not to say that, then again, I was going through my own personal stuff behind the scenes, but that is not to say that you don't care. And don't get me wrong, whilst I'm off the streets of LinkedIn, I still have DMs, that will ask me questions or say, where are you? And so on and so forth. You have to protect your peace. I love just meditating. I enjoy just getting up and praying, doing breathing exercises, doing stretches to reset the mind and reset the body. So that's me.
Excellent. What advice would you give someone feeling lost? Well, I feel lost every day, and I'm going to give this advice.
Yeah.
Every night, I turn my phone off at 8 o'clock, and then at 10 o'clock, 3 days a week, I do Williams Wind Down. And
Mm.
what that is I go live and I actually talk about the things that I'm grateful for today.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't take any of the negative into the conversation,
Mm.
but I say I am releasing anything that does not serve me.
Yes.
And I'm reminding myself of how great I am, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes throughout the day, you get told everything else but the fact that you're
But
great.
mm-hmm.
I do my journeys live because I feel like if I'm going through it, then somebody else is. I
Yes.
can only do it 3 days a week because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of heavy. And I take
Mm.
the other 4 days to just do that myself. And
Decompress.
I turn on my television and
Yes.
I listen to affirmations
Mm-hmm.
or frequency sounds, but it's not
Yes.
the news. It's not, it's not a horror movie. It's not a who
Mm.
done it. I'm very conscious after 8 o'clock what
Mm-hmm.
I absorb into my soul.
Yes.
You, my friend?
So here's the thing. My first thing would be, what is it that is causing you to feel lost? What are you lost about? Because often there is a root cause. Sometimes we treat the symptoms, but I always say check in the root cause, because then you can really get to release. Okay? If you came to me and ask and say to me, I'm feeling lost, what is it that's causing you that feeling? What is that feeling? What is it? Is it something that you have control over or you have no control over? Right? If you can control that thing, or whatever it is that's causing you to feel lost, then the first thing to do is, or I would do, actually, not even to you, what I would do is to just pause for a moment. Pause, take that time for yourself. Okay? Because sometimes we run away from that feeling, hoping that it would resolve itself. And actually, think about it. What is in me right now? Why am I feeling lost? What is it that's giving me this overwhelm? Because it's overwhelm as well in there.
Right.
So take the time out, pause, think of a positive place, a positive thing, something that brings you joy. Because the lost feeling is all inside of us. It's not out, it's not extreme, it's intrinsic. And so think about it. Think of a place, think of something positive. Like I said to you earlier, I like to meditate. I like to just take the time out to really think. So good thoughts, get some of exercise. If you're not used to it, if you're used to it, do more of it. If you're not used to it, get out there in the open air, whether it's walking. Some people have walking the dogs, some people have walking the blocks, right? Take the time out for yourself and surround yourself with those that will uplift you. You mentioned, William, to think about, affirmations. That is good, but sometimes when we have affirmations and we're still dwelling in the negative or non uplifting people, it doesn't do us good.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Words without action are hollow. You can listen to everything in the world, but if you're still concentrating on the negative, that's why I say it's a complete shutdown
Hmm.
for me.
Yes.
And one of the things that you said that I agree with, if you watch my show, I've been telling everyone I take my life 1 minute at a time
Mm.
because during this situation, and I can't speak on what's going on in the UK,
Hmm.
but in America, every minute you're hearing something extremely odd.
Yes.
And a lot of those things are affecting private households.
Hmm. Absolutely,
So,
it does.
yeah, so I'm taking it 1 minute at a time. And I
Yes.
stop for that minute and then I address it. And then I say to myself, I got to let this go and,
Absolutely.
work through it.
Hmm.
And there's a duality going on there
Mm.
because I don't want to watch the news, but because I watch the news, I'm in front of like my medical stuff or my
Yes.
housing stuff or understanding, what's going on in the job market. I I know kind of what to do because I'm aware, but then you can't take too much of that in
Mm.
because it becomes overwhelming. And I
It
believe
does.
that's what it means when we say we're lost.
Yes.
And so
Yes. It's the
I know
overwhelm.
I know what my triggers are, and that's why I do the reset. That's why I focus on something different.
Yes.
Even like I told you after 8 o'clock, I'm not going to watch a horror movie because not because not because I'm afraid of the horror movie, but
Yes.
because I'm being conscious of what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing and the
Yes.
message behind it. So yeah,
And the
that
triggers.
and the triggers, yeah.
The triggers. So yes.
Um,
So yeah, if you're feeling lost, just take the time for yourself to decompress and understand that feeling. What is it about? That feeling. What's overwhelming you? And surround yourself with positive people that will uplift you. And don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't bottle
I
up inside.
actually what she just said.
Hmm.
Um, I think that my podcast has saved my life because I did it because I was unemployed
Mm.
and I needed to connect with people
Yes.
and I needed to get out of my head.
Hmm.
And so I'm not selling anything. I'm not like becoming a coach or a consultant or anything like that.
Yes.
I'm just using it as a gateway to highlight other people.
Mm.
But I've been sharing my honest journey.
Yes.
And that honest journey has healed me,
Mm.
but it's also touched other people that are going through similar journeys. All of our journeys are different, right?
Yes.
And we don't want to talk about who has the worst life because that's a race to the bottom. None of that because all of our
Hmm.
lives are abundant. It's just we're in a season, some of us.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very small moment.
Yes, it is. It is.
Um, how
Snippets.
how do you balance leadership and compassion? And these are our last two questions that we're going to ask. And what was the
Yes.
biggest turning point in your journey?
Okay, so balancing leadership and compassion. Do you know, leadership is about compassion. The two are not separate to me, right? The two work hand in hand, or there is one. You can be compassionate in leadership and really staying focused in the moments that you need that focus to be able to say, I can share this, we've got X, Y, and Z to be done, and you lead with your own experience, you lead with your authenticity. I know it's a word that people use a lot, but the reality is, in my own search for answers, came the compassion for others, came the to a certain degree the leadership in the space that I occupy, you know. And so it's important that in the midst of us leading, we mustn't drop our compassion. Now it depends on if you are speaking on leadership with working with people, or leadership with leading um an industry, or you are leading the work itself. But it's always compassion where leadership lives. The two can thrive together. For me, they're not separate, you know. It took my experience, my trauma, to be able to get to the point of helping others and leading while still maintaining that compassion. So, how I maintain that is really being honest and open about my own experience and allowing the space, giving others the grace to come forward, to express, themselves, and also giving them that avenue, you know, to go forward, or to rather to come forward and to be themselves in that space, to contribute in that space, really listening in the space you occupy. Listen more than talking, because that's what a compassionate leader does. And that's when you get the best out of people.
You're so amazing. So, what
Thank
was the
you.
biggest turning point in your journey?
Whew. Um, that is not a hard one. I'm pausing because I'm just going back to that point, that realization point.
Hmm.
Um, was being able to open the doors. So in my show and in my writing on the streets of LinkedIn, I've always encouraged others. If you do not see the help, the support, or what you need, you must be somebody that can create that help which you need. That's where my journey began. I didn't have the answers, and I wanted answers. My turning point was being able to have 6 weeks Zoom to be able to allow couples to have a private Zoom meeting to hear just their stories, to hear their journey, to create that space for people to be able to speak, openly, honestly, without fear of judgment, without fear of um, isolation, without fear of being ridiculed or anything, or negative comments. And so that for me was a turning point in my journey.
Beautiful. Um, I'm going to respond to Mike's question, and I'm going to start with this. Um, I'm a man, and I don't think that any man should tell a woman what to do with her body.
Hmm.
And right now, we have a group of men that have decided what a woman should do with her body.
Hmm.
So that that's where I'm going to stand,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I'm going to stay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into the religious part of it
Mm-hmm.
because America is supposed to be a country that has freedom of religion, which means no religion.
Mm. Okay.
Like you can be Jewish, Muslim, Catholic, or agnostic. Or you can be atheist. You can choose anything.
Anything. Yes.
So if that's the case, then if once we take the religion out of it,
Mm-hmm.
um, and there's been so many cases since they've reversed versus Wade, where
Mm-hmm.
the mother has died or has
Mm.
been denied health care in America
Yes. Mm-hmm.
because of this, and the mo- mortality rate has gone up.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer is this is not up to me. This is up to the woman. And until we have the right representation of women in
Mm-hmm.
the body of Congress, I think men should stay out of it.
Mm.
And I'll let you answer in the way that you want to answer, Christiana.
So here is my. Can you put the question back up for me, please, William? Thank you. So I believe Mike is asking this question: how is the so we have the to pro-choice side? How is the choice of the right to life of the human being in the womb being represented? We've got to really take each case on its own merit. There is no one size fits all in this. But you're right in saying that as human beings, we do not have the right to tell somebody else what to do with their own body. Just as a standalone comment, no one has the right to tell me what to do. I don't have the right to tell you what to do because we're all adults. Ultimately, I'm assuming he's speaking of adults here and not children. Okay. And that's really important that we are very clear on that. And we understand that where the law, and again, I am aware of Wade's case. So in that case, you got to really think about it. Funny, we mentioned compassion earlier. What that case needed was compassion, and there was no compassion. The reason why we got the result of fatality, there was no compassion. There was no compassion in hearing out, understanding either. Everybody's a human being. We have the right to choose. We have the right to say, okay, this is my choice of what I want to do with my own body. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I can say so much more about this, but I believe that this is not the time or place.
It's actually that's its own show.
It
Um,
is.
but and I didn't say what my position was. I
Mm,
just said I'm not going to be the person that's going to tell you what to do with your body.
mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know how it feels. I don't know what the struggle is. I don't know if it was because of uh, abuse or your father did something to you or your cousin, your uncle. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And so I think once we start having the
Mm,
government in your personal medical room, that's not a good thing
mm,
in my opinion, in my humble opinion.
mm-hmm.
So I want to thank everyone for sitting here and listening to us for 2 hours.
Thank you.
It didn't feel like that.
No.
Um, I know some of you guys have popped in, popped back out. I love
Mhm.
everyone for being here.
Thank
Christiana, I
you.
could not have thought of a more compelling conversation. And I haven't
Thank
had a
you.
more compelling conversation like this in a while. Um,
Thank you, William. It's been a pleasure being here.
Thank you. She scared me to death. I didn't think she was coming, by the way, you guys. But she
So,
showed
you
up.
know, I went to come into the show and my device said no. I was trying everything. What had happened was,
What happened was, go ahead.
this is the thing that keeps me. Look, can you see this?
Uh-huh.
This couldn't be looked at anywhere. Without this, my video will not play or show up, and it wasn't. And I had to locate it. So, yes, my apologies. I didn't mean to give you a mild heart attack for a moment.
It was a mild one. It was a mild one, but it was great. I'm so excited about this, ladies and gentlemen. My outro is long, so you do not have to stay, Christiana, because it's like 6 minutes. But it's a
Okay.
body positivity. It's a women's empowerment video. It's called "Are You Man Enough?" But it doesn't mean it's about men. It just means, are you strong
Okay.
enough for me? You know, you can stay if you
Yeah.
want. I love my music.
Yeah.
But everyone,
So
thank you so much.
I'll see you on my show next week. So you know, I usually do my shows on Thursdays. I'm hoping that I will see you on our show next week, next Thursday.
So are you inviting me to your show next week, or are
I
you asking me to be
am.
a guest in the audience?
I'm inviting you to my show next week. Come to stage and talk to us.
What time is it?
It's 7 p.m. BST
7 p.m.
in
Pacific
the
Standard.
evening.
All right, so
British summertime. So currently it's 8 p.m. for us over here.
mm-hmm. All right, so 7 p.m. your time.
Yes.
All right, so let me figure out the difference in time zones, because I do have a 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing Zoom party with Aaron
Okay.
Gibson and Gabriel
Oh, nice.
at 7 p.m. Eastern, and I have my 1 o'clock. So what time is it there right now?
8 p.m.
Oh, so it would be 2 o'clock my time.
Yeah.
So what after my show, then I'll just go to your show.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'll do it. Send me the
Fantastic.
invite.
I will. I
remind me.
will. I will. Yes.
Thank you so
Definitely.
much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Chrissy,
Take
let me know
care.
what you think about this song, okay?
And
All right, here we
thanks
go, guys.
everybody for being here. Thank you so much.
She does such a better job at that than I do. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Hey, lights on me real quick. Yeah. I said lights. Mirror. Bring me a mirror. Toss. Oh, I'm good. Y'all ready? Yeah. Y'all ready? All right. Let's get funky. Ha. I don't walk in guessing. I don't walk in knowing. Every eye shifts when I hit the floor. I don't need noise to announce my presence. I let the room adjust to my direction. I don't rush moments, I let them feel me. Confidence loud, but it move real gently. I've been this way before you clock the glow. This ain't overnight, this long-term control. I don't ask rooms if I belong here. I make space when I cross that frontier. Telling heavy airway like truth. When I move like this, what you gonna do? Hold up, drums stay right there. Bass, come on, yeah, that's it.
Say my name, y'all.
Say my name, yo.
I'm Brixley, baby.
Say it louder.
Say it louder.
I'm Brixley, baby. Say it proud.
Say it proud.
I'm Brixley, baby. What's my name, y'all?
Say it now.
I'm Brixley, baby. Say it now. Yeah, that's right again. I don't perform small, I expand a moment. Every step timed, every move devoted. I don't chase claps, I command reaction. Watch how silence turn into attraction. I don't flex hard, I flex smooth. Let the groove do what it do. I don't need permission slips. I give cues and the rhythm hits. I visit rooms where they talk real loud, but can't back not one thing down. I don't talk, I demonstrate. When I stop the band, they hesitate. Hold on, who told y'all to stop? I did. Alright, bring it back. Once more to you.
I'm Brixley, baby.
Say my name, yo.
Say it loud.
I'm Brixley, baby. Say it loud. I'm Brixley, baby. What's my name, yo?
Say it now.
I'm Brixley, baby. Say it now. Yeah. Right there. Don't rush it. Let it ride. I need a second. Don't rush me. Let me catch my breath, y'all. You don't mind, do you? I've been moving fast, I've been leading loud, I've been setting fire every time I come around. I don't do halfway, I don't do pretend. When I step in rhythm, I expect respect. I don't need a crowd to feel seen, but I love it when the room lean in. I love it when the energy listen before I say a word and still pay attention. Say my name, y'all.
Say my name, y'all.
I'm Dixie, baby.
Say it louder.
I'm Dixie, baby.
Say it louder.
I'm Dixie, baby. Say it louder.
Are you man enough for me?
Say it louder.
Are you man enough for me?
Say it louder.
Are you man enough for me?
What's my name, y'all? I'm Dixie, baby. Say it loud. Yeah, I'm getting all right.
Hold up.
Let the music breathe. I'm looking for a man, yeah, I said it. Not a maybe, not a habit. I want somebody solid, somebody grounded, somebody who don't flinch when the spotlight find them. I want shoulders strong and a quiet confidence, not too loud, but very present. If you're nervous, that's cute. But if you're scared, stay seated. If you think you got it, you can stand up. I might look your way if your posture straight up. Don't rush me, I'm choosing. I'm not in a hurry, this moment I'm using. You like this, I know, take a breath, I need two. Alright, y'all ready? Are you man enough for me? I can't hear you.
Are you man enough for me?
Say it loud.